Okay, next movie I'm gonna review is The Witch, which came out last year, 2016, and was directed by first-time director Robert Eggers. And I know it's released by A24 Studios, who is kind of like, I guess, gaining traction now as a independent film company that releases independent artsy horror films. I know this year they released It Comes at Night, but I haven't seen it yet. And I think they also released Green Room, which I really enjoyed. So this is a studio I'm gonna be looking out for because I I'm not really a big fan of Blumhouse and stuff, but yeah, I mean if I did like The Witch and I did like Green Room, so hopefully I would like It Comes at Night. But like I said, this movie came out last year. I don't think it had a wide theatrical release. I think it was limited release because it's an independent art horror film. But well, horror I guess. But it's about a Puritan family that gets excommunicated from their village because the father is like too religious, which I know that sounds weird. And I like how this was set before the witch trial, the Salem witch trials. So that kind of gives you like an eerie feel like what's going to come. Well, they get excommunicated and they move to a wooded area from like everyone and somewhere in New England. I'm not sure where it's at, but I remember on the original poster when it was released, it said "The Witch: A New England Folktale." I don't say it on here, but they move out there, and once they do, there's like a lot of weird stuff starts happening, and it's mainly focused around the oldest daughter, um, named Thomason, because she's a teenager, but she's she's not one to act like a typical female back then. Like she don't want to get married and she don't want to be a wife and a mother and stuff. So they're kind of like weirded out by that for some reason. I know it's back in that time. Women had a certain role back then, but so a lot of weird stuff starts happening. Thomason's watching her baby brother named Samuel, and it was in the trailer. She's doing a peekaboo peekaboo thing with him, and when she does this and opens her eyes, he's missing. And after that, they're like, oh, the mother's like freaking out. She's like, oh, you did something to him. You did something to him and stuff. And like the only one that's like really on her side is the father, and he's like, you're just being irrational. So, it's not exactly what he said, because one interesting thing about this movie is that the dialect is like old Puritan language, and so it's a lot of like thous and art thous and stuff, and thys and stuff like that. So it's like old English, I guess, and it's kind of hard to understand because all the people have like a deep English accent, and it's like, oh my god. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with it that much. I could understand what they said sometimes, and I know that was a big complaint about this film. But it's a period piece, so I understand why they use that dialect and they got English actors. But anyways, so a lot of weird stuff starts happening. Like the crops are dying. The younger brother gets sick. Not the baby, but not the one's missing, but the younger one. He gets sick, and they're all blaming it on Thomason. And there's these two little twins, I couldn't stand them. They they are like very like rude and destructive, and is a brother and sister twins. They're part of the family, and they run around making fun of Thomason. And there's like this goat called Black Phillip, which is actually the goat on here. They go around and start messing with him. They go like, Black Phillip, Black Phillip. And then like Black Phillip. That's the best character in the movie to me is Black Phillip. He goes crazy on him, tries to attack him. Then there's like a little rabbit when the father and son are going hunting in the woods. There's like a little rabbit with bug eyes just staring at him like this, like like that. That's the whole it's doing. And I was like, damn, that's so weird. But anyways, like basically, the movie is more like a drama, a family drama, because it's basically like shows the breakdown of this family. Like they don't trust each other. You know, there's a lot of jealousy going on, especially between the mom and the daughter. And like the father's the one that has to try to keep everything together. The two little the two little annoying twins, and then you got the mother's upset because the baby's missing. And another thing is that a lot of this movie is left up to your interpretation, but they do show a witch in here. I mean, you don't. It's like really at the beginning of the movie, uh, when the baby gets taken, uh, you actually see the baby getting sacrificed, and then damn, what was the other thing I was gonna say? I got distracted. And you see it like running around in the woods sometimes, but you don't see a close up of it. Like when they go hunting, the young son, I forgot the son's name. He goes when they're going hunting, he actually sees the witch, and she tries to like seduce him, and that's how he gets sick. And then there's like which I thought this was the highlight of the movie, especially for this kid, because this is he's a kid, but there's like an exorcism scene where they're trying to like get the demon out of him, because back then they thought everything was based on demonic possession and witchcraft. And that kid, man, was acting his ass off in that scene. I thought he did really good in that scene. But like I said, they do show a witch in it, but it's not much. And it's kind of like left up to your interpretation, like later on in the movie, like when Thomason, after everything goes down at the farmhouse, and Thomason goes into the woods, and you see everything. It's like maybe it did happen, maybe it didn't happen. And I heard a lot about that, kind of like the same reaction. There's the movie It Comes at Night, the new movie I haven't seen, but a lot of people said that's like the same way. It's like left up to your interpretation, like what actually happened. So, but yeah, I mean the movie is not scary. There's just like a certain atmosphere to it that's just like very unsettling. Like it's like it's back in the 1600s. It's like the family lives out in the middle of the woods, and it's like always dark and dreary outside, even like during the day. There's like a lot of weird things going on with like the goats and rabbits and stuff. I don't know. And then I found out too is that the director actually pulled like quotes from like diaries from back in the day about witchcraft and weird things that were going on. So maybe that's probably, I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know until after I watched the movie. That's probably why it has like that very like unsettling feel to it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of social commentary in here too. You can interpret it because, like I said, the oldest daughter. A lot of the stuff's getting blamed on the oldest daughter. And you know how women, like young women, were treated back then. They're oftentimes called witches, and if they didn't fit the mold at that time, they were called witches, and they're outcasted and made fun of. And it has a lot of commentary about how women were treated back then. But yeah, I mean it's a interesting movie. I would highly recommend it. I mean most horror fans probably already seen it. Like I said, it's not really a horror movie. It just has a creepy atmosphere to it. It's very atmospheric. But anyways, that's my review.